And where are we on the singing part? On the Dust in the Wind? No, right? That's a no.
That's
That's
a
a
bit.
big no.
It's the biggest of no's, Moshe.
Yeah,
The
fair
people have
enough.
suffered enough.
Great pass from Diamantidis. The lob inside. Here we go. 40 minutes to a title. David Blue for three. On the mark, David Blue.
Now Spinellis drives inside. Looks for the alley-oop. Corey Higgins just exploding.
EuroLeague Sweet 16. Exactly what you need. As ever, we are up on SoundCloud and we are, of course, on wherever you get good podcasts. So be sure to search for EuroLeague Sweet 16 to subscribe and get the episodes as soon as they drop.
Hello, hello, hello. It has been a very long time, but we're back with EuroLeague Sweet 16. I'm Emmet Ryan from Ball in Europe, and joining me are Moshe Barda from Team Scout. Hi, Moshe.
Hey, how you doing? Well, yeah, it's kind of been a while. It's not Team Scout anymore, but Team Scout lives with us, I think, in spirit.
Well, I was going to say you've got about 40 different titles, and that was the easiest one to go with. And Aris Barkas from, of course, Eurohoops and Cosmode. Aris, great to see you, buddy.
Great to see you too. Sorry for my bad lightning, but it's a little bit, as always, a ragtag recording, and we just hope to do our best.
Exactly. We do our best. We hope for the best. So we got four playoff series to get through. For those of you tuning in, we'll tell you the order we'll be going through them in first. We'll be starting with Fenerbahce versus Paris, then Panathinaikos versus Efes, then on to Monaco versus Barcelona, and we'll be finishing with Olympiacos and Real Madrid. We will, of course, be giving you our picks for all four. And I will be asking the guys to rank them in terms of interestingness at the end. So once we've gone through all four, what they think is most interesting to the least interesting series. So, Aris, I'm going to start off with yourself because we're going to have one that I think is fascinating, even though I think it could end up, being one-sided. Fenerbahce versus Paris. Obviously, Fenerbahce, Nigel Hayes-Davis made the EuroLeague first team. Saras is the Alexander Gomelski Coach of the Year. And in Paris, you've obviously got TJ Shorts, who's the EuroLeague first team, and also just a phenomenal player, as well as Nadir Hefi, sorry, being the EuroLeague rising star. Looking at this series, Aris, just what are your initial thoughts?
You want the short version is that Fenerbahce will qualify.
I agree, but
Yes,
I still think
so
it's interesting despite that, though.
it's going to be very interesting, but uh, I love Paris. I expect them to die by the sword because they live by the sword, and by the sword I mean up-tempo basketball. So I'm pretty sure that Coach Saras will try to contain them and make them play at half court. It's not easy. Many have tried and failed during the season. But if Fenerbahce somehow makes this half-court game, then I really believe that we may end up even with a sweep. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. The bizarre thing though is like if you look at all eight teams in the playoffs, the one that can make losing a sweep most interesting is Paris to me.
yes, I don't disagree, and I also think that first of all, because this is their style of play, maybe we underestimate what TJ Shorts can do in the half court, because pretty much he can do anything, and it was obvious in the most important game of the season so far for Paris, the playing game against Real Madrid. He demolished the half court defense of Real Madrid, so why not do it again against Fenerbahce? But on the other hand, Paris in the playoffs, it's a different story because they also, I think, and I'm not saying that in order to disrespect the club, but they are missing one key factor that always makes the playoffs a little bit more balanced. I don't think that they have this extra push at home. And I wouldn't be surprised, for example, if half the arena in Paris will be filled by Fenerbahce fans.
Oh yeah, and we've seen that with quite a few games this season where like sort of with certain teams, the road fans have made
Yes.
their presence felt.
And of course, fans don't exactly play basketball. We know that. But in a playoff series, this is really, really, really important. I expect Fenerbahce to to not have a misstep at home. I will be very surprised if this happens. and then it will be very easy for them to close the series even on the road. Maybe because of Paris talent, I will say here the most probable outcome is 3-1 for Fenerbahce.
Okay. So Aris going 3-1 Fener. Moshe, your thoughts on this series, buddy?
And where are we on the singing part? On the Dust in the Wind? No, right? That's a no.
That's a big.
big no.
It's the biggest of no's, Moshe.
Yeah,
The
fair
people
enough.
have suffered enough.
Granted. Listen, the Aris analyzed it perfectly, but I think my 2 cents on the matter is like, as a matter of fact, when you look at Fener finishing second in the standings, it's somewhat of an anomaly, and not because they're not a good team, not because they are a great team. It's just that during the season they faced certain adversities that kind of should have taken a bigger toll than what it actually took. Like losing Scotty Wilbekin, not having Wade Baldwin for a couple of stretches, having this guy injured, having their five position kind of missing and making changes as they go. Um, and all of a sudden, like you see them facing Paris a few weeks ago, going really down in a gorgeous, like spectacular heavyweight bout. And you see Nigel Hayes Davies, like, with the deciding three, I think it was, right on the buzzer. Um, it could be a gentleman's sweep. It's just that I'm not feeling comfortable enough. Like, yeah, it's a clear-cut Fenner to me. Okay, it's a clear-cut Fenner. But it's like you guys both said, like, they made 20 teams suffer this year. 20 teams. That is not a small feat at all, whatsoever. So just to be on the safe side, 3-1 gentleman sweep as Aris.
I'm gonna go slightly different. I think for me this is a top two series for watchability,
Hmm.
but at the same time I'm going sweep for Fenner. I genuinely think we're gonna get only three games, but three extremely watchable games. Like if Paris find a way to somehow make this go to full five, we could be talking about the greatest series of all time we've ever seen. I don't think they can, but that's just to me in terms of styles make fights. And I think when I see these two go up against each other, I think it's very, very interesting, exciting basketball. Like the one that jumped out to me though, because like it's a chat I've had like with you two individually, with Lewis, our buddy who isn't available today, and a few others. It's not like we don't know what TJ Shorts is going to do. It's not like the opponents don't know what TJ Shorts is going to do. Yet somehow, some way, he's still able to do it. And like as Aris is saying, in the play-in game, like Real Madrid knew what TJ Shorts was going to do. They planned for it. They changed their D up a bit for it. And he still just did it. And that's the beauty of TJ. Like he finds a way to contribute, even when he's game planned for very well. Like, teams can game plan very, very well for TJ Shorts and they still can't take him down. That to me is why, like, when I'm going on purely, like, entertainment factor, like, obviously we have to look at this objectively as though we're not fans of any team. On a pure entertainment factor, this series is right up there for me. Because I really do think that even though I think it'll be the shortest of the four series, it's going to be a glorious. I say glorious sweep. I don't mean dominant. I just mean fun.
It's a low blow though. It's a low blow calling like, a series that has shorts on the one hand and calling the series short and then saying it's a low blow for itself.
It's very hard to avoid those puns, especially
I
given the
know.
diminutive nature of TJ as well.
No, but
But
seriously though, Emmett, do you feel like 100% comfortable, like both of you, do you feel 100% comfortable saying that like no way Paris makes it? Because if Thiago Splitter watches this and we might, he might be able to watch this specific segment. He goes to his guys and say, "Hey, look, guys, nobody really believes in you." And then they go up and they smoke, they smoke up Fenner.
Look, yes, I totally believe in Paris, but I simply, I'm also a Fenerbahce believer. It's simple as that. You know, and Paris already did maybe more than it was expected from them.
oh yeah, definitely. They overachieved.
Yes, Fenerbahce, on the other hand, they are just on track to meet expectations and then fight to get to the top. So I think that while, of course, everyone wants to win, you can't really convince me that Paris is as hungry, for example, as Fenerbahce.
And part of it's existential, Moshe, in that for Fener of the big teams, and I mean like your top three or four,
Hmm.
they're probably the least reliant on a single person of the top three or four. It doesn't necessarily make them the best of the top three or four, just to be clear. But it does mean that, like, say, Nigel Hayes-Davis, who would be the guy for Fenner, if he has an off night, it isn't a crisis necessarily for Fenner the way it might be for other clubs of their stature. They tend to not be as leaning on the guy as much as other big clubs, and for me, that's why I think that even if NHD has a bad night, and there's no reason to think he will in the playoffs, he's a top tier performer. I think they'll still find a way.
They got to find a way. I mean, when you just look at their wings, like, you know what? Not even just the wings. Let's say 3, 4 positions. Okay, even though three is kind of you got Daishan Pierre, right? Who's kind of, the forgotten one in some discussions. They
He
still
is,
got Bonzi
yeah.
Colton. They got Melly in the 4-5. So they got a lot of guys who can play multiple positions. However, like the Paris style of game, it's like, if we go full, like full vintage and go Rocky on this, it's like, remember that we need speed. Their extremely fast style of game, it hurts teams to the point where you really got, you got to trade for 45,000 minutes for a 45-minute fight. Only there's like potentially 5 of those fights within what, 2 weeks and a half.
Yeah, no, I think it's just going to be too much for Paris. On that, I think we should move on to the second series, which
But
well,
how is it possible though that Aris is not pissed? Because I know it kind of bothered me saying this has all the makings to be the greatest one yet. Yo, Emmett, we watched Maccabi Pau twice going on a 5-game series.
oh no, we watched, but that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying that. Oh no, I'm putting this in exalted company. If it was
Oh,
somehow to go to 5-5, we're putting it up there with some of the greatest series of all time, and we've seen some
could be, yes.
phenomenal series like that. Like that to me, if this goes to full five, I don't think it will. Like we're putting it in exalted company here for series motion. Like
Okay.
that's how good I think the series could be. But so we're all picking Fenner, me 3-0, Moshe and Aris both with a gentleman sweep of the 3-1. The next one up, it is the Ergin Ataman Derby. It is Panathinaikos and Anadolu Efes. Of course, Panathinaikos, third seed overall. They will have the home advantage if it goes to a fifth game. Efes with the sixth seed, so clear step up from last season, which is, with Luca Banchi obviously coming in to coach them in season. Kendrick Nunn, one of the favorites for MVP, but not necessarily the favorite. And obviously just the defending champions with the biggest possible target on their back. I will start with Moshe this time, even because I started with Aris last time. So, Moshe, your opening thoughts on this series?
Okay, first of all, can we all agree that this is like purely romantic series in terms of like Ataman facing his former team to begin with? Then we continue with Banki's redemption. First time ever since the 13-14 season that he's coming to a playoff series, having somewhat of a chance to make it to the Final Four. That's just to begin with.
Oh no, this is a beautiful series in terms of narratives. Absolutely beautiful in terms of narratives. Yeah.
Okay, so I know we kind of joked around, okay, mainly by we, I mean me, joked around about when did we have last a season in which a team had both the top scorer, the MVP, like the Alfonso Ford Trophy winner, the MVP of the season, and he ends up as the EuroLeague champ at that year, and that was none other than well, guys want to help me? Was the 15-16 season last year before the new format?
Oh gosh. Who won in 15-16?
Pesca,
Was
he's French, by the
Nando.
way.
Nando.
Nando, exactly.
Yeah.
And do you remember what happened after? Oh, yeah,
Um,
broke loose. Four
yeah,
game streaks and whatnot. So Panathinaikos, it's like again, you have the Alfonso Ford Trophy winner, and probably, even though I would go with Sasha, by the way.
I think Sasha's going to win it as well, by the way. I think Sasha's going to win the MVP.
But if none wins it, then it's like everyone's really going against everything that history created curses, if that makes sense. But in terms of like, just speaking on the basketball itself, Panathinaikos to me are the deeper team. They have more quality, but at the same time, they have yet to prove or give you that kind of feeling that they can get along even without Kendrick Nunn. Like if you go at that piece and you're like, that's your sniper, marks that target, and that's the confirmed, that you're going after, that's the guy. I know that if I stop him, they have yet to show me this year that they can find additional ways. Okay, in terms of depth and quality, oh my God, like really, show me a GM, show me a fan who wouldn't want that kind of roster. But have they persuaded me enough? I don't know. And will they be again the first team to make back to back? Like history shows us that and taught us it happens like once a decade, pretty much. And we've had Olympiacos in the 2010s, we had Maccabi in the beginning of the 2000s, and we had Anadolu Efes in 21, 22, and the following year. Sorry, 2021 and 21, 22. So professionally speaking, I would go, 3-1, like not yet Banki. Sorry, they're still the reigning champs to me, Panathinaikos. But if they manage, like if Anadolu manages to contain somehow um, Kendrick Nunn, and if by God somehow Giannis Papapetru gets forgotten on the bench, then I go Anadolu Efes for the Final Four because that guy made the difference in last year's playoff series, and don't you forget that.
So you're going Panathinaikos, I think here, and so you're going
3-1. Yeah,
3-1.
just yeah, gentleman's sweep.
Gentlemen sweep. Okay, okay. Aris, the one thing that jumps out to me for Ephes with this is they're the team with the least pressure of any of the teams, I think, going into the playoffs because for them, well, okay, Paris have less, but of
Uh,
the other three, I think Ephes probably are the least pressure on them.
I totally agree on that. But on the other hand, when you have this kind of a roster and this kind of history, when you are in the playoffs and you're playing against your former coach, there is a great incentive, no matter how you see it. But I really believe that this will be the most classic drag down EuroLeague-like playoff series that will end in 5 games with no road wins. Simple as that. And I think I think that this will simply once more go in line with the fact that Panathinaikos so far in the season has been a very different team uh, at home and on the road. I really don't see FS being able to get a win at Oaxaca. Uh, Many tried, almost all of them failed. And if you take into account that the Greek derbies are always very strange animals, and you take also the games with with Olympiacos out of the equation, then you simply say that nobody can really get a win at Waka. So I don't see how FS will manage to get uh, a road win, and I also think that FS is strong enough to get 2 wins at home. So I really believe that it will be all will be decided in Game 5. But I also don't think that Panathinaikos on Game 5 in the end will have to make a big shot or something in order to prevail. I believe that Panathinaikos will not blow out FS by any means, but I think that in the end they will get to the Final Four by just getting the job done at home like they did many, many times before during the season. And yes, fans don't play basketball, but Oaxaca is a factor. And the way that the gym will be sold out, the way that everyone will cheer for the team and will cheer for Gendrik Nunn, because it's obvious that he's getting this energy and transform it somehow to great basketball. I think that this makes for FS winning at Oaxaca almost a mission impossible.
So I have to ask then, like seriously, considering last time Banki was in the playoffs was, against Maccabi back in the when he was with Milan, I would say a lot claimed that back then Milan were the favorites. This time he's coming from somewhat of a position of an underdog, which in my books can really it can really help Anadolu Efes. But there's the experience of Shane Larkin and Rodrigue Bobois, who in my books now I would love if you ask me about the matchup to see that I'm really eager to watch, is to see if Bobby can be vintage Bobby and go with Kendrick Nunn because I don't know if if you're on the same page here with me. In my books, Bobois was probably a more than very good one-on-one defender.
Yeah, although the thing that's sticking out to me really, Moshe, is because I keep on looking at because obviously game one tends to get overrated in every series, just to be clear. But Ephesus' best chance at a road win for me in this is game one.
In one.
Like it's not game two. I really think that like if they can catch Pau, with the pressure a little bit too much on them, maybe they can pull off a heist. But at the same time, like Ergen Ataman is a coach built for the playoffs. Like it's just who he is. So even if they were to drop game one, he'll find a way to win back in Istanbul. I'm going with Aris very much on the 3-2 here. I think like this for me is the series I'm most looking forward to, even though oddly for the same rationale as Aris. I think it will be the most predictable. I think it will be a simple 3-2 all home win split. But at the same time, I think we'll get at least one game where Evans make us believe they'll steal one in the Owaka, and we'll get at least one game where I think Powell make you think they're going to close it out in Turkey. And that'll be enough to guarantee, we get the drama we need while still being, well, I won't say processional because like 3-2 is not processional, but while being a to script version of a 3-2. Like Pau, obviously they've, had to work around the Lasor injury a lot this season, but despite that, like they've still managed to make the Owaka Fortress in the old style. I was at one of their rare defeats, of course, this season in Owaka, so I don't think I'd be welcome back there this week if I was to fly in, although of course that was against Olympiacos, and as Art was saying, EuroLeague meetings between the big two are always a bit weird. So we can't really factor that in. So yeah, like I look at this and I go, like, for FS, they've got the sixth seed, got a decent outcome. Would they have preferred another matchup? Well, not really one of against the top three. I think all top three matches for them would have been tough. They might have, if they'd been able to get that fifth seed, maybe they'd have fancied themselves against Monaco. But at the same time, I go, there's enough there for FS to get respect out of this series, but not to get a place back in the final four. And like Ataman, he's a man who lives off the various narratives, and he's getting the
So
Ergen Ataman series. So you put all of this together, I'm thinking 3-2 to Pau.
are you surprised though with his declarations before? Because usually we see a very confident Ataman.
No, 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 no,
I'll
no,
bring the
no.
cup, but this time,
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. I think that he just had the feel of his team, and he felt that this time around he must put a little bit the needle in the emergency button.
so
It's as simple as that. He had done it before in his last year with FES. He tried to motivate his team, and ultimately he couldn't do it, and he left. So I think that he really felt that Panathinaikos needs a little bit more edge.
where are we on the Lorenzo Brown front? Can he play any part to make the difference? Because skill set wise, he's a baller. Like, let's be honest. It's just that this year he's been struggling to fit into a new system, shall we say?
He has, but I think Aris go, yeah.
Yes. My honest opinion is that the way that Coach Ataman thinks is very simple. Either you are doing the job or not.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. So consider right now the backcourt is a little bit battered, that Kostas Lukas is not in his best shape. I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly he gets Lorenzo in, he starts getting hot, and he stays for the rest of the game. It's as simple as that. It's not like there is a predetermined plan about the roles and who will be the guy that will come in the second period to change the tempo and all this stuff. I think that Coach Ataman, and this is his big strength, goes by his instinct. So it's hard to predict right now what will happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly Lorenzo Brown is, for example, the MVP of the series. Of course, I have to say that a guy like Jerian Grant has earned throughout the season the right to be always on the court. So it's simple as that.
Yeah, but that's a given since last year, if we're honest.
Yes, but I think that this year, ultimately, I think that if there is an award so far, because we don't know yet who is the MVP, and I think that ultimately, whoever gets the MVP award, he will be worth it. Right now, it seems that it's a three-way race between Vezenkov, between Nan, and between TJ Shorts. I think that whoever gets it, okay, you can argue that he's not deserving the award, but uh, it's just an argument. The general picture is that all three deserve it. I think that in the case of Geraint Grant, uh, considering also that the award went to Nick Weiler-Bubb, I think that this was a misfire.
It was a very strange call that, like, because
Yes.
again, like no disrespect to Nick, just to be clear, but you look at like Bayern's overall defensive stats, doesn't exactly scream of the team you look for the best defender on. Whereas Jerian was just, he's because again, he's a guy who, like, when he was coming out of college, like, defense was part of his game, but he was, there to be a scoring creator. And he has adjusted his game brilliantly in the pro days. And he is, to me, like, I would say was the clear best defender this year. I don't think we have the same depth for the defensive player award as we do for MVP. Like Aris was saying, I think all of the top three contenders played at legit MVP winning levels this year. Like, I think Sasha will win,
Guys,
but
I lost you a bit.
sorry, yeah, Aris, yeah, you broke up a little bit there. I was saying, like, yeah, like defensive player of the year, I don't think was as deep at the top as it is, say, the MVP race, which I think is very deep at the top. We got our top three there. But yeah, like Jerian was going to have that chip on his shoulder in the playoffs, and I think that'll stand out. So we have 2-3-2s, that's me and Aris, and we have 1-3-1, that's Moshe, and we are all saying pow into the final four. So, and of course, that also means we've picked one of our semi-finals, by the way, my pairings, because we are saying Fenner versus Pow in the final four, which of course will be a repeat of last season. So we're moving on to the third series that will get underway. Game one is on the 23rd of April, that's Wednesday, and it is AS Monaco against FC Barcelona, the 4-5 matchup. Traditionally, this seeding should be the most interesting. I am really not excited about this series at all. Oh God, I'm
Yeah.
not. Aris, I'm not excited. Are you excited?
Well, you know, I totally get your point, and I agree. Uh, Maybe if Barcelona somehow makes it to the final four, the series will be more interesting than expected. But on the other hand, I'm eager to see Vasilis Panoulis in the final four as a coach.
That is
I
true.
think
That is true.
yes, I think that this is a huge incentive to get to my prediction directly. Yes, I totally agree that this series, for a number of reasons, especially because Barcelona, due to their injuries, has already overachieved. I think that it's probably the less exciting of all of them.
Yeah, like, because they are the most baffling five seed I can recall in forever. Because every time I turned them on this season, they looked ass. Being polite
Oh my
about it,
God.
like.
You were violent on this.
I just haven't enjoyed watching this Barcelona team at all this season, and like just to be clear, like obviously they got the record, they did enough, but I'm just puzzled as to how they got that record and did enough. Like, it makes no sense to me from the basketball I've seen. But yeah, it's like I could easily see this going the full five because of the madness of playoffs, but at the same time, Moshe. Like, if Monaco don't win this series,
Oh
they
yeah.
should all take the longest look at themselves in the mirror possible. Uh, Moshe, come on, I'll let you go in because I've been too harsh. Moshe, let's see if you
No,
can be
no.
kinder.
Like I'm just looking around here and I can't seem to find my broom. No, it's not here. But it is in my books. This is like I do believe that if there is a chance of a sweep, even a small chance of brooms flying all around, it's for both Spanish teams. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it feels like not just Barcelona. And I know we'll get to the other playoff series, but when we're talking Barcelona, like Ari said, with the injuries, or was it you, Emmett, with the injuries and with everything, some games were good, but still, it's like they managed to find a way. And I'll do Ari's one better. Is there any better scenario than V-Span, Kill Bill, the guy who's, he's the stuff that Hattori Hanzo swords are made of, taking down Panathinaikos or Sharas. And imagine it all, like, imagine about the Obradovic effect. Like, Spanoulis and Panathinaikos and having Sharunas Jasikevičius, the only way to make it better was if we had Oded Katac there in the Final Four as well, and that was like a perfect, probably we would have seen Coach Zag being the perfect panelist over there, trying to, telling stories about each and every one of them, exposing them. Not like exposing, but telling
No,
the good
no,
stuff.
we'll have if that happened, we have Zoc as a special guest referee. It's and specially designed ref kit for him as well. Given that we are recording this in WrestleMania weekend, you might as well go for that reference. So
Yep.
Moshe, you're saying sweep.
Yes, yes, yes. And again, like if somehow by a miracle, because this is indeed what's going to take for Barca to take down this Monaco. If a miracle happens by any chance, man, I don't want to be there like in Monaco when they bring out the mirrors.
So Moshe is saying sweep. Aris, you're picking Monaco, but what are you saying in terms of the number of games?
This seems like a 3-1 series, you know.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
This is more to me like a 3-1 series, but uh, the hard truth is that Barcelona is depleted. Okay, they even lost Dame Sar. It's crazy.
Yeah, in the most ridiculous manner possible
Yes.
that they lost it
Guys,
to.
it made us all say, "Damn."
Yes.
Sorry.
Essentially, they have for the playoffs a 10 players rotation.
That's impressive, you gotta admit.
Yeah.
Yes. So what can you say? I really believe that they will put on a fight because of those situations when also that when you look at the bench, there is no much help. We are, for example, now Barcelona is coming essentially with 3 guards to play the series. They have Satoransky, they have Panther, and they have Brizuela. That's it. 3 guards.
It's mad.
This is crazy by EuroLeague standards. So the fact that those guys know that we are just 3 guys and we have to win, maybe they will produce some kind of miracles. But if you compare to what Monaco has, for example, on the guard position, you can't really give them any real luck to do something. Monaco has Elio Kobo, Jordan Lloyd, Mike James, Nick Alathis, Strazel, and even Tarpe, who will probably not be available on the games because he just don't fit in the 12 active players. So it's just a number games. Monaco has more players.
Yeah, and there's always the irrational fear that we could get a full 5-game series here in my head, and it won't be a good 5-game series.
Monaco, yeah.
But I'm still going to say Monaco in 4. So we got 1 super promotion, me and Aris, Monaco in 4.
But Emmet, I have to say about Monaco, and first of all, sorry, Barcelona saying overachieved feels kind of, not being fair to them. Because before all the injuries, we would have said that they were definitely in the fight for a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know the top 5, but so overachieving in a way, it's like, yeah, you can say overachieving, but it feels like it takes away something of that accomplishment, considering all the injuries they had and having
Moshe, I really feel for the
injured.
For the team, for the players and the coaching staff, because we know that they were on the market for something like 2 months in order to find a player. They did find one guy. They brought him to Barcelona.
Only to get
from
injured.
China, of all places. Suddenly, the management, which is not really connected to the basketball section, said that we don't need this guy. And they didn't get any player after that. And that was even before Juan Nunez was injured.
You mean Hertel? For a second
Yes,
there,
I mean Thomas Hertel, but forget it was Thomas Hertel.
Yeah, of course.
They were outnumbered and needed just one player, and they couldn't even get that one player. I mean, if Hertel was added, it will be a great bonus for them because at least he's a guy who has been in the EuroLeague.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even get someone from Liga Endesa, a filler to help the rest of the team get rested or something. These 10 guys will have also during the EuroLeague playoffs to compete in the brutal Liga Endesa.
Hmm.
What can you say to them?
Yeah,
Great job,
it's
guys. I mean, essentially, just great job, like making it to where you made it.
or maybe
And
just
what
please
they
don't
did,
die.
it's crazy. It's crazy, and I don't want to jinx it, but imagine if another injury happens.
Oh, we're gonna talk Jinx, guys. We're gonna talk
Yes,
Jinx.
Oh gosh, because we are getting, of course, to the one seed playoff, which you may go 1-8. Well, yes, it is 1-8, but if we're talking jinx, Moshe wants to get to the one seed part of this. But it is, of course, Olympiacos, the regular season top spot against Real Madrid. Real Madrid, who have well, I put them on high watch at the weekend. Then they had the disaster against Paris, although they bounced back nicely against Bayern. But Real, who I have seen quite a lot of this season, and yeah, they are a team that plays basketball, is the politest thing I can say. In terms of they don't look like they have that much chemistry, yet they've still found a way. They're sort of stumbling, bumbling into the playoffs. But given we are on Jinx Watch, Moshe, I think you're going to start off by talking about Olympiacos somehow.
Granted, yes, yes, indeed. So, okay. First of all, I would like to say that I do, that I'll talk about it later. First of all, Olympiacos. You guys made great adjustments during the summer. Great additions, great signings, hands down. Everything seemed ready. You're like a well-oiled machine on the court. Teams feared you. Teams did not know what they need to do because of your second wave of offense, third wave of ops, and all the options that you guys presented defenses with. You know, Coaches on the other side, they look baffled trying to understand what the hell is going on. And then you go and you finish as number one seed. Have you learned nothing in recent years? Come on. What is it? Everyone says that you're ready. We all think that you're ready to take the cup, but why on earth the flip will you go and finish as number one seed? You knew that going into this season. You knew that. I'm sorry, 8 seasons so far, not one champ came from the first place. Why on earth would you do that?
Well,
Enlighten me, explain.
before I rain on Moshe's views on jinxes, I'm going to have to give him a little bit of support briefly, which I know sounds horrible because I'm Mr. Anti-Jinx. But the last time it looked like a team was going to get both the one seed and win it all, the world shut down for a couple of years because COVID happened. So Anadolu Efes looked on course to take the one seed and looked at the class in the pandemic season, as in the actual pandemic season, not the one that was played behind closed doors. And like looked like the class of EuroLeague, and we're going to romp the playoffs, win the Final Four, be the coolest champions ever, and of course the entire global society as we knew it shut down. So maybe so if a one seed wins, big pressure on that for Oli. But I think the Jinx gets overplayed, Moshe. I know you love these,
Yeah, of course.
but the bottom line for me is Oli look good. They look really, really good. Like,
Absolutely.
they have really, really impressed the holy heck out of me all season long. They had a couple of fallow-ish in terms of performance periods, but not necessarily in terms of result periods, which is the key thing. And it's always a sign of a good side if you can win when you're not playing your best basketball. Oli had that spell. They did it. And, took the one seed, like a very tight top three battle for the one seed in the end. Worth pointing out
Allegedly.
as well.
Allegedly.
Well, I think everybody was going for it. And yeah, if look, someone is eventually going to win EuroLeague from the one seed at the end of the day. And a Georgia Spartak style team is kind of the one you expect to do it, as in that style of basketball and approach to the game, business-like. And so yeah, I in this series, I'll be the because I haven't been first pick yet, so I'll go first pick. I am very, 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 very tempted to say sweep. It's but this Real side has found a way to make you think that they can be competitive when they're not. So I'm going to say 3-1, but I actually have no idea where Real Madrid win that game. So it's like because I could easily see Oli winning, in a sweep, but somehow, some way, Real pick up a win to make us all doubt ourselves briefly. But Oli in four. Aris, I'll go over to you
No,
and
you're getting played here. I mean, you're getting played here by that season where Madrid faced Anadolu in the playoff series, only to lose 3-2 with with an amazing bucket by Kruno Simon, Krunoslav, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, they looked like they were there. Anadolu Efes looked very vulnerable, and Madrid just almost had that in them. But
You,
this version of Madrid, if Aris spoke earlier and rightfully so about how shortened of a backcourt that Barcelona had, I mean, I cannot say that Madrid are really that much deeper. They are deeper, but not that much deeper to contest a team that has Vildosa, McKissick,
well,
Thomas
this isn't a
Walkup.
Real Madrid team of the last 4 seasons. I'll be the
Of
first to say
course,
that. It's not
it,
that.
it's like it's the dead cat bounce, right? Dead cat's bounce
Dead,
is the
dead cat
right.
bounce, yeah.
Yeah.
Aris, we've got to let the man based in Athens talk about Olympiacos versus Real Madrid. Go at it, mate.
Okay, I really think that this is by far the most unpredictable series because it has too many variables. Yes, in the end of the day, Olympiacos is the favorite. We may end up having a sweep, and we may end up having the whole series decided on the last play. I'm not saying that because of the cares, because of all those things. It's crazy to have a series between the first and the eighth seed and being the two teams that faced each other 2 years ago in the final and last year in the semi-final. I think that makes by far this series the most interesting of all. Usually, Moshe, the cares is quite easy to explain because when you build all those expectations, ultimately you lose by yourself.
Yeah, it's mental. It's a mental aspect of the game.
It's totally mental. So I think that that's why Olympiacos came into the fold without thinking at all this. You have to take into account the fact that Olympiacos has a huge roster, and that's why some key injuries, like for example, missing Thomas Walkup, ended up being an afterthought. So, first of all, the first thing for Olympiacos will be which will be the players that will be available for those games. I think that at this point of the season, we can fairly be sure that we will not see Keenan Evans on the court this year. And the crazy thing is that even without Keenan Evans and maybe even without Thomas Walkup, Olympiacos will have 3 or 4 players, some of them guards, that will not be available in the series because there are simply too many players there.
Yeah, they got like 12 of them.
Yes, Olympiacos this year has decided that they will win the EuroLeague. They have done everything in their power to do this.
Aris, they got an army. They don't have a team. They got a legit army.
Yes, exactly. The craziest of stuff was that suddenly, because it's something that even himself confirms it, suddenly Evan Fournier came calling and said, I want to play for Olympiacos. Okay, I'm oversimplifying it now, but essentially this is what happened. And Olympiacos was ready to pay him. Simple as that. So, out of the blue, they have a player that can be, let's say, the answer to Kendrick Nunn. They got Sasha Vezenkov back, who's putting better numbers than his MVP season. When Vezenkov is missing, Alec Peters is playing the hell out like him. It's crazy that you miss Vezenkov and suddenly you go Peters and he's doing exactly the same stuff. They have 3 centers that could be starters in every EuroLeague team, each one of them, and they are not missing anything. The only thing that they are missing, that they may miss the court is the fact that they have to produce their top basketball right now. So essentially, yes, if you go clearly to the basketball side of things, this could be a sweep. And this way, it's obvious that Real Madrid will have will create a lot of issues to Olympiacos, and everyone is afraid. Of course, unless you are a fan of Real Madrid, that suddenly every shot will fall. We've seen it against Bayern, and of course, Bayern had the mental burden that they were playing without Carson Edwards, but this doesn't mean that Madrid didn't play admirably. The main issue of Madrid is that when you get Campazzo out of the team, suddenly the team stops working. It's as simple as that. That's why there were so many rumors really early in the season about Theo Maledon. It's obvious that Campazzo is fighting alone. The same can be said about Tavares. When you take Tavares and Campazzo out of Real Madrid, they are a different team. And Olympiacos on paper doesn't have those issues. So I wouldn't be surprised about anything in the series. I wouldn't be surprised if Sergio Llull suddenly averages 20 points in the playoffs against Olympiacos. And I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly Evan Fournier averages, I don't know, 5 3-pointers per game, and this ends up being a sweep. I think that because of the names involved and the rosters involved and the history between these two teams, this is by far the most interesting series of all. Yes, Olympiacos is the favorite to make it, but I really can't make any prediction about the outcome of the games. It can be easily 3-0 and can be easily 3-2.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to get you to pick one.
Let's
what do
find
you
it
think?
in the middle and say that it's 3-1. Yes, it's 3-1, something like that.
So we got 2-3-1s. Moshe, your pick for this series.
Out of respect to the champs that they once were, we gotta we gotta put it into the equation. I mean, seriously. I'll give one game to Madrid, but it's supposed to be a sweep, like legit sweep. And do know that I really do firmly believe that this year Monaco can really go all the way with the way. I really do believe they can go all the way because it feels like they are ready. But we are talking Olympiacos here, so sweepy,
So,
sweeps.
so you saying sweep or 3-1?
I'm saying happy sweeps day.
So
No, but seriously, it had like again, it's supposed to be a sweep, but I'll go 3-1 out of respect to Madrid
So,
because
so we are all going 3-1. So it is a sweep of sorts for 3-1 picks.
yeah.
So the last order of business is we're gonna have the guys grade the series from best to least best. We'll kindly put it. So, Moshe, I'll go with you first. The four series go your 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of interesting.
In terms of interesting, Paolo Nadolu to me is number one, I reckon. Second would be the French-Turkish connection,
Okay,
meaning
okay. Fenner and Paris, yeah.
Paris, yes. Third, I mean, it's a tough one, but I'll go Olympiacos Madrid. You see, I picked them quick, didn't I?
Yeah, and Monaco,
Fourth,
Barca to finish.
obviously, yeah. Fourth, obviously, is Monaco.
Aris, 1 to 4 for you.
Let's go the other way around. I think that we all agree that the Monaco-Barcelona series is for the average fan, the neutral fan, the least interesting. I think that if you are looking for pure spectacle, then you go for Fenerbahce Paris. Basketball-wise, this series has an obvious attraction because of the style of play of Paris. So if you don't care about your team, then this is a very, very interesting series. However, the tradition, the history, and all that, I really believe that the most, let's say, the series that will be the most interesting will be the one between Olympiacos and Real Madrid.
What? Why? I really got not,
No,
not out
no
of
matter
disrespect.
what,
I really like. I'm legit.
I,
I'm legit interested to hear what you're saying. Like, why is it the most interesting one for you?
I really expect battles. I really expect grinned out games. I really expect a lot of complaints and jabs with coach from both sides. I really expect five sold outs if the series drags to 5 games. It has all the makings that it has all the ingredients that really make EuroLeague great, you know. And the cherry on top is that Real Madrid is a global brand.
So you're going Olympiacos Real first.
It gets to an audience beyond. It gets to an audience beyond basketball.
That's true. So
Paris is very interesting for for a basketball aficionado, let's say, for a guy who really wants to see the game and see how the game involves and see Paris that brings something fresh to the EuroLeague. If you go strictly by star power, by legacy, by brand names, by all this, then first you go to Olympiacos Real Madrid because Real Madrid gives a slight edge as a global brand. Then you go to Panathinaikos Anadolu Efes for the exact same reasons. And then you go to Fenerbahce Paris because Paris is still a club in the making. You know, it's a very interesting proposal, but for now it's just a proposal. And they have to deliver in the playoffs. And okay, I totally respect all the efforts that the EuroLeague teams are doing in order to attract new audience and do crossover stuff and all those things. But I saw a video from Paris that was the fans celebrating the win in Madrid. I don't know if it was a watch party, if there were the ultras of the club or something. Okay, they got flares, but it was something like 20 guys. And one of them probably took a dive to shame just to show his excitement. Okay, it was a respectable effort, but it was just an effort. You know, you can't really create something when it isn't there.
Yeah, it takes time.
Paris is a big market. It's it's great to be there for European basketball, but they are not yet what they should be. You know, they are not PSG.
That's
Simple as
absolutely
that.
right. Although you are reminding me of
Basketball wise, though.
So yes.
No, I'm saying like
Yes, yes,
if
Moshe,
this series
yes,
were,
but only on the court, basketball-wise, only on the court. Outside the court, I think that it will end up being one of the Dallas series. Because
listen,
you really can get mad also to Paris. You know, it's a very likable team.
Yeah.
No, I get it. What I was saying is that if we were to get this series last year or the year before that, I'd go with it number one all day, every day. I don't care what people say. This should be and would have been the number one series to watch, hands down, all the way. But that's why, like, I put them in as the number three, right? Because to me, Fener is still like, that's still a big club. Yeah, Paris are on the rise, and we still have that romance, but true, it is more of a kind of local thing in terms of the Europe.
Yes, but I get the impression that Fenerbahce in that series, on everything outside the court, they essentially play alone. You know, there is no comparison between the two clubs. And hopefully it will be in some years, but not right now.
I'm going to be shockingly boring in that I'm fully agreeing with Moshe's order. I'm thinking it's going to be the PAO Efes at 1. I already talked up Fener Paris at 2, and I can't move that down now. Only Real at 3, although Aris has got me very much doubting myself now. And it is a sweep for last, Monaco, Barcelona. And if there's any Monaco and Barcelona fans upset about that,
Sorry,
prove us
not sorry.
wrong. Just prove us wrong. Prove us
Yeah.
wrong. So that brings to an end this particular show. I will get the guys to sign off, telling you all where to find them in a moment. But we will
One
be back.
question. One question, Emmett.
Yes.
Aris and I have been talking through, just simple gazes at each other, and both of us were wondering, how come there's a glass of water on your end? It makes us feel as if you were abducted, or for the very least, trying to signal us that someone has kidnapped you. So please blink twice.
Not quite. It's more because I had quite a lot to drink last night and I'm
Oh,
making up for it. So it's for the normal reason. That's why there was a full pot of coffee as well, Moshe. Fear ye not
fair enough.
on that. But we will be back ahead of the game threes that next weekend. So keep an eye for that. There won't be one between game one and two because all of us are going to be absolutely ludicrously flat out. There is not going to be one between games one and two. I can promise that from the heart that there will not be that podcast. So
We are not in our 20s anymore. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, we're not in our 20s anymore. But there will be one ahead of game threes. Yeah, well, of course, we will all be seeing you in Abu Dhabi, where my pale Irish skin will surely be at risk. But before we go, Moshe, first, tell us where we can find you on the internet, buddy.
It's over. It's over, yeah, because this episode is over. But as ever, at Moses B1 on Twitter and on Instagram, and there's the at EL Sweet 16 show that's kind of waking up slowly but surely, you know?
And Aris, where can they find you?
You
Oh,
can
and
find me at TikTok. No, I'm kidding. No, not TikTok for me. You can find me on Eurohoops. You know where to find me.
Excellent. And for me, of course, it's a Ball in Europe on most of the socials, although ballineurope.com is the gram and yes, the TikTok now. I do TikToks at 44. Heaven help us all. But Ball in Europe, obviously, the site, the YouTube, and the Twitter. And also the LinkedIn if you're into LinkedIn. Okie dokie. On behalf of Moshe and Aris, wishing you all the best and looking forward to some great playoff series. And we will all see you very soon. Until next time.
Great pass from Diamantidis. The lob is done. Here we go. 40 minutes to a title. David Blue for three. On the mark, David Blue.
Now Spinola's drives inside, looks for the alley-oop! Corey Higgins just exploding.
EuroLeague Sweet 16, exactly what you need.